On the highway, never south of the smile. Get there when we get there. How are you guys doing? Yeah, we're at the comedy show. How about a hand for yourselves for coming out? Yes, we are doing it tonight. The class, the stand-up comedians tonight, all pitched in and bought some snacks for everybody. So feel free to help yourself to those and give them a hand for doing that. That's not Google doing that. They just did that for you guys. That is so nice. So these comedians, they've been working so hard. They've been writing. They've been learning, they've been practicing, they've been going to open mics. They've been really going at this. They're giving it their all tonight. But I want you guys to know that it's not just their jobs, okay? This is a social event, and they're here and you're here too, all right? You're not watching TV. So when they tell a joke and you think it's funny, let them know, all right? Laugh, okay? We can do that, right? We're all in this together? Yeah? Cool. Right on. Point number 2. This is going to be a non-Google zone. All right? That is to say, not everything that the comedians say up here is going to be 100% clean. All right? Can we agree to that that's okay? And we don't have to get HR involved in this? Okay, awesome. Cool. And if you disagree, you can go. You're welcome to do that. We won't notice. Just say you have to go to the bathroom or something. Point number 3. Let's all move closer. Huh? How about that? Everybody just move. If everybody moves up 1 row, maybe 2, then it's going to feel more comedy showish. You guys are in the exact right spot. That's perfect. Well done. You guys are all perfect too. You just got to move up a little bit. Awesome. Yeah, you guys are doing great. Heck yeah. You guys are already such a good audience. You know, sometimes when the comedian's like, hey, everybody move up, the entire audience collectively is like, no. Thank you guys for doing that. It's going to be a very exciting, momentous occasion for the comedians. It could be their first show tonight. A little less exciting for me because I don't have Montezuma's Revenge this time. I had it last time I performed here. It was extra exciting because I didn't know if I was gonna make it the entire show. It was just like there's a bathroom around the corner. During the entire show, I was just in the back of my head like, oh man, I gotta use that bidet. Have you guys tried the bidets? Yeah? Who here has not tried the bidet? Yeah, are you kidding? Some of you work here and you haven't tried it. That's crazy. Yeah, what? So what's the reasoning? I was going to say fear, but maybe it's not fear. First of all, do you have a butthole? It is, you don't have to answer that. It is so good. And if you have a butthole, I highly recommend it. It is the future of cleaning it, and you should check it out. It is amazing. The first time I sat on that seat, that bidet, and I felt that warmth, I realized this is the seat equivalent of true love. That's what that is. It's like sitting on the concept of love. I felt it work its magic, and I was like, this thing cares about me. It was amazing. I loved it so much. And I if I have to go to the bathroom in San Francisco and I know I'm going to be in Mountain View later in the day, I'll hold it. I will. And it is so nice. Sometimes people get jealous though. And I know that they just want to turn on it, you know? But they just keep going get off the drinking fountain. All right, this is going good. Now, I want you guys to feel comfortable. This is a safe space. That's why I didn't, make you answer about whether you have one. like I want us to keep a positive tone. I like to keep things positive. You know, I'm a positive dude. I spin things positive. Like for instance, this one time I got a Minute Maid lemonade, and I was like, this is going to be a nice, healthy, positive life choice. Some of you are chuckling already. You must have read the nutrition facts. Yeah, I hadn't before that. And I looked at the nutrition facts and I was like, oh my God, this is 0% juice. There are no lemons in Minute Maid lemonade. Now, a negative person would be like, well, that is a waste of my money. Not me. I spun it positive. And I was like, what an underdog of a company. Because life didn't even give them lemons. And they were still like, we're making lemonade. Why is it yellow? I once did that joke and somebody yelled out at me, Minute Maid lemonade's actually made with 3% juice, which is a rude heckle. A fact check in the middle of the comedian's act. Now, a negative comedian would get all flustered and bent out of shape about it. Not me. I spun it positive. And I let that person know, no, it's not. It is 0% juice. Like, do you really think I would write and perform that entire joke without doing the research first? That would be ridiculous. That would be so, I looked it up later. It is 3% juice. I like the joke. I want to keep doing it. So I just keep doing it. One thing that I am grateful for, and I'm positive about, is that we are done with the holiday season. Thank goodness. I am not a fan. Who's with me on? Yeah, they suck. Holidays are lame because, I mean, they're stressful. You got to, like Valentine's Day just happened. You got to buy the right present, you know? And worst of all, I think holidays, when you break them down, they're just exceptions to rules that there shouldn't be exceptions to. And that creates bad habits. I don't like that. I'll give exceptions to rules. I'll give you some examples. Halloween. Every other day of the year, we're like, don't accept candy from strangers. Oh, except for that one day when all the strangers are wearing disguises. Then go nuts. Get out there. Don't overeat. Thanksgiving. Don't let strangers in the house. Santa Claus. Don't eat stuff you find in the backyard. Easter. Don't let your dad kidnap you and start a new life in Nevada. My birthday, once. It's exceptions to rules. There shouldn't be those. Oh. All right, I'm going to get out of here pretty soon. But before I do, I want to do something extra special for you guys. All right, I'm going to read somebody's mind in this audience tonight. Okay? Holy crap. All I need is a volunteer. Somebody who's willing to let me read their mind. A hesitant hand. Okay, I'll go with you. Not you. You. Your mind's harder to read. I bet I could get it. Okay? I'm going to read your mind. First of all, what's your name? Devin. I know. Devin, I'm going to read your mind, and there's one catch. All right? That's that it takes me 2 guesses to read your mind. Not bad. 50% accuracy. All right? Now, what I need you to do, Devin, is focus on the thing that you want me to read. Okay? Do you have it? Okay. First guess. You're thinking about your parents having sex. Second guess. Now you're thinking about your parents having sex. Give a hand for Devin being a good sport. Thank you, Devin. That was very nice of you. That's my time. I'm your host tonight. You guys ready to get this show started? Oh, you can do better than that. You guys ready to get this show started? Oh, yeah. All right. Your next comedian tonight, I love his commitment to his bits. He gets into it, and you guys are about to get into it. Put your hands together for Vlad Furman.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Man, going up first. Totally not stressful at all. Totally chillax. Yeah, reminds me of going to the doctor's office. That's also totally not stressful. I mean, you've got like a little pain, you got something, you don't know what it is. You have no idea what's going on. You're going to this guy or girl, you know, they presumably know what's going on. And you're like, okay, all right, tell me what it is. It's bad, isn't it? What is it? It's, I'm sorry, what? It's, no, a little slower, please. It's fistic of the knee. What? I got knee. It's fistic mabriosis. Okay, I totally know what that is, but just to check that you know what it is, why don't you explain it to me? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, now why don't you explain those 7 other words you used? Okay, and what does that mean? Oh, okay. So you're asking me if we should operate or not. Okay, thank you for asking me for my input. Which one of us has the medical degree? Why am I making these decisions? Like, I get that it's my body. Thank you for respecting that. I appreciate that. I have no idea what this means. Why do you went to 4 years for this? I know how to type and write computer shit. I'm not asking you to program the computer you're using. Why are you asking me about whether or not we should operate? That's your job. Okay. So okay. I get it. Patient, decision, whatever, fine. What are the odds? You can't tell me, okay? I mean, can I get numbers? No numbers. Okay, you just, it's probably going to work. I like probably. Probably is very, very, very secure feeling that you're going to be cutting me up and it'll probably work. Okay. Can I at least know how much I'll be paying for it? Oh. Okay. I guess I can talk to my insurance about that. I'm pretty sure they're humans and not demonic overlords, but can I ask them now? No, that's going to involve 4 hours on the phone. I'm sorry I haven't asked you. Okay. Well, that's okay. I have this imaginary crystal ball. I'm sure it'll help me. Oh, crystal ball. How much am I going to pay for this? According to section sub C, paragraph 4. Oh my God. Next time I'll just ask Google. I mean, I'm sure it knows what my insurance is. But yeah, doctor's office, pretty stressful because your life's on the line and you're kind of worrying about all that. But for whatever reason, I worry more about the life of my socks than about my own personal health. Because I don't know about you guys, but me, I keep socks maybe a little longer than I should. My wife tells me, Vlad, you've got a hole in your sock. And I'm like, it's just a little hole. All right, whatever. Next week, Vlad, you've got a hole in your sock. It's just a little hole. Vlad, you have a hole in your sock. It's just a little hole. Vlad, you don't have a sock anymore. It's a hole. All right, fine, if we must. And then, I take this more hole than sock object. I'm going over to the trash can, and I see my wife standing there by the trash can with a look on her face that I know very well. And I'm like, okay, what is this going to be about? She doesn't say anything. Toss it in. Amazing Grace. Except, she can sing and I can't, but you get the picture. But yeah, no, my wife, my friend, we have these kind of sense of humor. One really fun incident that happened was my friend and I, we were at another friend's house and we had all carpooled there along with a couple other guys because we were in high school trying to save cash, trying to save gas money, maybe get something than that horrible beige thing that I suppose technically counted as a car. It got us there. Anyways, it was hopefully going to get us back. But there was one very important question to answer first. And specifically the question that was yelled out, shotgun! Now, it's not like the front seat was any more comfortable than the back seat on this car, but it's a matter of pride, damn it! And you can't just let someone get away with just yelling shotgun. No. We are, teenagers full of hormones. This is not done over and with diplomatically. This is, victors to the spoils. And so just because someone yelled it doesn't mean we're not all going to run like madmen over to that shotgun front seat. And so it's me and my friend in the lead. My friend's faster than me, and so he's got a head start on me, but I'm a bit more of a strategic thinker. I've got this thought out. I have a plan. This is vital. The planning is important because the car was parked next to some shrubs, which would make opening the door a little difficult, unless you came in from the other direction, which was technically farther to get to. But it would save me time in the long run, my genius plan. I spend a lot more time thinking about this kind of thing than anything important. So I'm just getting to the front of the car. My friend's just getting to the rear and has just realized his error, tactical error, but he just goes right through the bushes. And I still worried he might make there first until I hear a scream, "Bird!" I go, what the hell? Not that I stopped running for the door. But, later on, I see like this little tiny thing, flutter out of the bushes. Later on the drive back, as I'm happily sitting in the front, I go, what the hell was that about? So like, dude, you didn't see it? I run for the bushes. Then this giant bird comes out of nowhere. Pretty sure it was this big. Who knows? Thank you all so much. You've been great.
Keep it going for Vlad. That was so awesome. That was Vlad's first time doing like a stand-up show. Keep it going for Vlad. Hell yeah, dude. That was really funny. I was so into that, and like just like the commitment to it, man. That guy's got it going for him. He's like, if you want to keep doing it, you totally can, and you should. All right, Vlad. That was. This is a non-Google zone. I already said. All right, you guys ready for your next comedian? All right. Hell yeah. So your next comedian, she was like a bright light in the room. She lit things up when she was there. She was just such a positive presence. And that was a high bar because the entire class was a pretty positive presence. So please, show that same light for her. Give it up for Ilsa Heim.
All right. So I just turned 25 2 days ago. Yeah, there we go. And I think at this point in life, all of us want to feel unique. You want to have something special about you. But when you're a kid, often the opposite's true, right? You just kind of want to blend in, fly under the radar. I realized that wasn't possible for me in elementary school when my friends picked up on the fact that my mom kept calling me a whore. Now, in my defense, I was not a whore as a child, but my mom also didn't realize what she was doing. So she's from the Netherlands. Do we have any Dutch people here? No? Okay, so next time you hear someone speaking Dutch, I'm sure you'll pick up on this. Every 3 or 4 sentences, they just end it with the word whore. Now, I asked my mom about this since it doesn't really mean anything. It's just a filler word for the end of sentences. But as a kid, she'd always tell me like, oh, do the dishes, whore, make your bed, whore. And I grew up with it. I didn't think anything of it. I'm surprised I even knew my name at that point. But, then I had a friend come over for the first time, and she had older brothers, so she actually knew what this word meant. And so my mom greets her. She goes, oh my God, Keely, it's so nice to meet you, whore. I've heard so much about you. And that look, I mean, I lost a friend that day, but at least I get to, have some material for now. And also, I'd like to point out, so Jesse, he told us, every time you have an idea for a joke or a funny story, you should write it down so you don't forget. And so for the past 2 weeks at work, on my desk, I've had this Post-it note that just said, Dutch whore. And I've had teammates have come by, my managers come by to ask questions. And I think the worst part is that no one said anything about it. We could have just had an inside joke if they asked me about it, but now it's still there. So now I'm thinking I might just troll them even more, just put a phone number underneath it. So anyway, yeah, speaking of phone numbers, so I went on this date recently. I got rid of that guy's phone number pretty much immediately after. He started being just outwardly racist within about 10 minutes. So this was the first date. We get coffee. and he was Indian. He starts talking about Muslims in India out of nowhere, which already pretty dangerous territory for a first date. And then he just goes, yeah, you know, they're just like black people in America. They just don't get far in life. And so I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. So I'm like, oh yeah, you mean like they face discrimination? So like there's all these extra hurdles for them. And he goes, no, they're just lazy. So yeah. So needless to say, I got out of there immediately. And I was thinking afterwards, like, who brings that up on a first date? But then the more I thought about it, I think it's actually brilliant. So like, if one of your core qualities is that you're racist, I think you want people with shared values. And so, you know, why waste 2-3 dates? You're just going to spend like hours with this person. Just test the waters early, see if you've got a fellow racist on your hands. And if so, you can start talking about other shared interests, like when's the next KKK convention? I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to talk though. I have my own issues when I'm dating, which is that I sleepwalk and I sleep talk. And so, and the thing is, I'm pretty positive right now, right? But I've across the board just a total bitch in my sleep. And so I had this boyfriend in college. I'm sleeping over at his place, and he puts his arm around me really sweet in my sleep. And I just immediately turn to him. I push him away and I just say, "You're not the right person." And I just roll over right back to bed. I mean, that's gotta cut deep. Like, I don't know. So the thing is, I tried to make it up to him the next night. I fake sleep talked and I complimented his dick, but you know, like, I think guys like that. But yeah, and so again, like, I'm pretty smiley up here, but not in my sleep. So another time I had these college roommates, and there were 3 of us in a room. So there was a bunk bed and then there was a bed on the side. So I was the top bunk all year. And one night I went to bed first, and my roommates were just on their laptops in bed. So my arm sort of like lazily falls over the side of the bed, nothing unusual. But then my head follows, and I'm just staring straight at the bottom bunk girl, like just straight in the eye for about 10 seconds. And then I whisper to her in this deep voice, I go, "I'm gonna get that throat." And 2 people have never run out of a room so fast. So, and again, like, they come back in, I'm sound asleep, no memory of this. They had to wake me up to even tell me it happened. And so, yeah, so that's how I got the name Kilsa. There you go. Thank you, guys.
Keep it going for Ilsa. That was hilarious. Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so good, Ilsa. Way to go. All right, ready for your next one? Oh, it's so fun. All right, your next comedian, I really enjoyed hearing his unique life experiences in class, and I'm excited for you guys to hear about those now. Put your hands together real loud for Chaitanya Konida.
Can I get this out? I can actually. All right. Yeah, following Elsa. That's super fun. Like, it's not hard enough already. Yeah. Yeah, but you guys have to give me the benefit of doubt because, you know, as you can probably tell, I'm not from the US. I was not born here. I know, shocking, but I was born in India. But the country has assimilated me pretty well, so thank you for that. Now, before we begin, who here likes art? Oh, lots of people. You, sir, gentlemen, what do you like? I don't even know why I asked. I don't have no idea. The only art I get is graffiti because it's at the end of the day, it's just stylish letters. I can read them and be informed, right? Like, I can learn something from it. I also like the fact that graffiti, the usual canvas that people use for graffiti is bathroom walls. Because when I'm in a bathroom, I'm like, I've got to spend like 15 seconds here. I'm going to waste all my time here. There's something I should be doing to be constructed now, right? And then I read something written right in front of me, and I'm like, information right there. I'm like, for a good time, call Brittany. Good to know, good to know. And Dagon rules, huh? All right. I know now. Cool. So speaking of restrooms, that actually ties back into why I left India and came out to the US. So this happened when I was a kid, right? Back home in India, to give you a little more context, I was in this house where the restroom was detached from the rest of the house. So we had to get out from the house, circle all the way around it to get to the restroom. That's fine, no big deal, right? But growing up as a kid, I was really scared of the dark. And I also had this weird notion that if I ever switch lights on the way there, the monsters would know where I was, zero in, and get me. So I devised a clever mechanism for getting around this, right? What I did was I used to sneak in all ninja-like, no lights. I just go by the sense of smell, right? Because the bathroom smells wonderful. It's wonderful. And then I get there, but once when I'm in the bathroom, I go by the sense of sound, right? I start peeing randomly, and when the water hits the water, you got it right. Like, that's the spot. So I used to go in and orient myself as needed, And then when I hit the water, I know I'm doing it right. Everything's good. But this one time, though, I walked in and I started peeing. 20 seconds in, I had to pee a lot that night. 20 seconds in, there was still no sound of water hitting water. And I grew concerned, right? Like I had done everything. I had even pointed upwards, but even that didn't work. And at that point, I reached out and switched the light on. I just made better judgment. And turns out there was this old man sitting on the toilet, and I had been peeing in his face the entire time. All fine. The creepy part was he had his eyes closed, and he looked like his salvation had come through, right? Like something like. And then when the pee stream stopped, he opens his eyes, looks at me, reaches out, and switches the light back off. And then I hear a voice in the background go, in the silence go, continue. You guys need to remember I was 6 years old when this happened. And as a 6-year-old, it's pretty much a fantasy to pee on people, right? So I was like, oh, well. Yeah, and then I grew up and I learned how disgusting that was. And I couldn't take it anymore, right? So I broke up with him and left the country. I'm kidding. I'm not actually gay. My wife thinks I'm gay, though. So. But at least my boyfriend doesn't. So I've got that going for me. So I came to the country, right? And new thing here, everyone's got guns, which is super awesome. Except for the fact that I got shot once at a comedy club. So background story there. I went to a comedy club because I was trying to get into the whole frame of it. And when I walk in, I'm like, so I tried to get the jokes, but all of them were so topical that I couldn't make sense of them, right? I didn't get even a single one. Like one guy would come up on stage and be like, remember Dick Cheney? And I'm like, I don't. I don't know if Dick is his first name or that's just an adjective you're using to describe him. So, and anyway, moving on. So then there was a third comic who actually had a joke that I understood. He had a joke about Scooby-Doo. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. Though he wasn't very funny, but I was still so on board with what he was doing that I was giving him a lot of love throughout, right? Like every joke he went like, ha, 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 I get him. He's funny. And turns out everyone else was just giving him the cold shoulder. No one was even looking at him. And at the end, he goes, you guys were great. Thank you. I'm sorry. And I get up like all excited. And I'm like, and then I look around, there's no one standing. Shit. I go back down. The guy had a gun on him, and that's how I got shot the first time. The second time I got shot, it wasn't as much fun, though. This time, I was actually driving in a car, and I got pulled over. That's actually a story right there, because when I was driving, I didn't know lights behind you meant you had to pull over. I just thought somebody had to get past me, so I kept changing lanes. And the cop kept following me, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I just switched 4 lanes for you. You're just still following me. Finally, I pulled out, and he actually pulled over. Sorry. That has a different meaning completely, entirely. So finally, I pulled over, and then the cop came out. And background again. In India, when a cop stops you on the road, you're pretty much supposed to show your registration and your license. And if everything looks good, they let you go. Actually, they don't, but that's a different story. Let's not go there right now. Anyway, and I had my registration in my car's dashboard. So I started reaching out for it, right? While the cop was walking towards me. So when the cop came over and looked in from a window, this is kind of how I looked like. And then he knocked on my door, knocked on my window, and I looked over to him and I thought I should get this to him in a hurry because I don't want to get shot. So I kept looking at him and kept on reaching towards the dashboard. And then for some reason he got agitated, right? He was like super scared about something and started gesturing frantically. He's like something, I couldn't make out what he was saying, but I didn't want him to know that. So I just kept nodding to let him know I agree with what he was saying. It kind of looked like this. It was like, and then he broke the window open for some reason. He probably was just a jerk. And then he's pointing his gun at me, and I'm like, maybe I'm just wasting too much of his time. So I start moving faster, right? I'm like, and that's how I got shot the second time. Thank you, guys. You guys have been great. Give it up for Jesse.
Awesome. Way to go, man. Keep it going for Chaitanya. That was so funny. Boy, that peeing story, man, that gets me every time. It's so good. You guys ready for your next comedian? The show is going so good. All right, your next comedian, I love his writing. Like, he tells those jokes. It's like, oh, that is a thing of beauty. You guys are going to love him. Put your hands together real loud for Michael Adams.
All right. I've been getting a little bummed out recently at the state of affairs in the world. Now, of course, there are all the big news stories, but there are also some little indicators that let you know what people are going through. For example, I was driving down the road and I looked to my left and I saw a big truck. And on the side of that truck, there was an advertisement for the trucking company. And it said, "Making enough money, Rogers Trucking." Now, what kind of low self-esteem truckers is Roger trying to recruit with this advertising campaign? And how is this commercial supposed to go? If you and your roommates want to make rent on that studio apartment, come on down to Rogers Trucking. You want to buy enough toothpaste to brush your teeth every single day? Come on down to Rogers Trucking. You want to finish all of your clothing, grocery, and Christmas shopping with one trip to CVS? Then get on down to Rogers Trucking and make just enough money. I think we can hold ourselves to a little higher standard than just making enough. But no matter how bummed out I get, I can always cheer myself up by reminding myself I'm a new dad. I got a 9-month-old at home, and he's the greatest thing in the world. Thank you. Thank you. But it's not all fun and games parenting, though. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing for a baby, and you got to learn a lot. And one of the things you'll learn is that one of the best indicators of a child's future IQ is how well he sleeps as a baby. So what that means in our household is when that baby falls asleep, the place is on lockdown. And our baby is pretty sensitive to getting moved around. So that means when he falls asleep, wherever he falls asleep, that's where he stays. Now, this sounds good at first. I thought to myself, I may actually get a little me time once this guy comes around, if he's sleeping all the time. But if you're not careful, this is what can happen. I'll be sitting on the couch, feeding the baby in front of the TV. My wife will be gone, and then he'll fall asleep right in my lap. And there I'm stuck for 2 hours. Now, this situation goes one of two completely different ways based upon one thing. Can I reach the remote? If I can, it's 2 hours of glorious, guilt-free binge watching The Good Place. If I can't, I step up to the edge, I lean over, and I peer down into the black, bottomless pit of daytime TV. You can't truly understand the state of affairs in this world until you become familiar with what people are watching on Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. I got stuck watching golf a few weeks ago. For those of you who are not familiar with golf as a spectator sport, here's a little news story that pretty well sums it up. NBC was once caught adding fake bird chirping soundtracks to their golf broadcast. You know you're dealing with a boring sport when their idea of punching up the excitement level is add in a sleep aid. The sweet melodic chirping of the northeastern red-breasted robin. And they only got caught because a regular viewer was able to identify the bird's song and knew he wasn't native to the area. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the answer to the question on your mind. What kind of person watches golf and finds it exciting? The kind that also seeks enjoyment sitting in an empty field thinking, now who's that chirping this time? I don't recognize that one. Is that some sort of a sparrow or a jay? Nope, that's the sound of your balls shrinking. But I sat it out. I sat there and I watched every minute of that golf broadcast because this is my boy's IQ we're talking about. His whole future's at stake. His whole future rests on these glorious naps. That's how a parent thinks. I got to maximize his chance for success. But if this happens too many times, eventually a man finds his own limits. And that's exactly what happened when the broadcaster came on and said, when we come back, an all new episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Botox Specialist. It's a new spinoff you might not have heard of yet. At that moment, sitting still as a log with my eyes closed, struggling not to let my son's future slip away, I thought I could only think one thing. Son, remember this. Wherever life takes you, whatever misfortunes come your way, you can always come home and find enough success at Rogers Truckin'. Nap time's over. Give me the remote.
Way to go. I love that callback. Keep it going for Michael. Wasn't that hilarious? Nah. And he puts the stand back. What a sweetheart. Michael, that was so funny. Those jokes were great. All these awesome comedians they're making me feel like I'm a really good teacher, but I know that it's just because they're super smart. But also I'm a really good teacher. You guys ready for your next comedian? This guy is hilarious, a great joke writer. I love his thing on stage. He's so watchable. Put your hands together for real loud for Kashyap Puranik.
Hello, everyone. I learned a cool trick to avoid stage fright. You just have to imagine your audience in their underwear. So if you catch me giving weird looks, it's nothing weird. I'm just imagining you in your underwear. Cool. Let's get started. Great performances so far, particularly Mike. I totally understand your problems. I have problems with babies as well. Whenever I get into a plane to go on a vacation, you always see a baby next to me crying throughout the journey. It just doesn't stop. I have this weird conspiracy theory. The airline company wants you to move to first class next time. So they strategically plant babies all over the plane and configure them to cry for the entire journey. What the fuck? I always used to wonder, where do babies come from? I still do. Where the fuck do these babies come from? How do they last 22 hours? Are there spare babies in the back? Is there mid-air refueling? Like the plane comes and latches on and the babies flow in and these babies have got me every single time except once. This one time the plane was great, no babies. But you know, Murphy's Law, I mean, the plane took off, but according to Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will. And a few minutes later, I hear something from the first class, and there's someone moving behind. It looked like someone with a baby. Oh God, this cannot happen. This has to be the worst thing ever. So everyone's an atheist till they're on a plane and a baby is going to come sit next to you or something, or some saying like that. So I started praying really hard. First time I've ever prayed. And a few seconds later, the worst thing happens. Someone says, the plane is being hijacked. I was like, yes! No babies! First time. And that's how I got shot for the first time. Best vacation ever. But since then, I've learned to use technology to solve my problems. I just get a noise cancellation earphones and everything's good. It even blocks the air hostess, the naggy air hostess who always sit upright, wear your seatbelt, don't create a scene, don't harass your co-passengers. You're not my mother, you don't tell me what to do. Yeah, so technology solves all your problems. And I'm glad I work at a technology company. Some of the products that we create also solve some of our problems. So when I'm traveling and I hate talking to people, so technology solves that problem. I don't have to talk to people. I can just use Google Translate. Don't know how to get to where you want? Google Maps. So technology solves all kinds of problems. Are you really dead bored, nothing to do? You're done with your Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. You talk to your grandparents and done with everything and can't figure out anything to do? We have Google Plus. Okay, sarcasm aside, what the fuck is Google up to these days? YouTube Red? Worst porn site ever. Even if you do find something, it goes away the next day. It's as if they're monitoring all your good queries and taking the videos down, marking them private so that only they can view it. No thanks. I'd rather just imagine the audience in their underwear. And what's this new thing? Google Home? It sits in your house and does things for you, like change the channel? Wow, that's such a problem. Thank you. The only person I enjoy when I'm at home talking to is my roommate, Shane. Oh, where was it? Mark. I don't remember his name. I've not talked to him in a few years, but you get the point. I hate talking to people and robots. And there's no way I'm going to use that to change the channel. There are only 3 kinds of people who use Google Now to change the TV channel. Lonely people, people with no hands, and people with a baby sleeping. Because Mike, next time you're with your wife and you want to enjoy your night, you could just say, okay, Google, turn on some YouTube Red. Thank you, everyone.
Way to go, dude. That was awesome. Keep it going for Cash App. That was so funny. Love those callbacks. All right. Your next comedian is a super funny dude. And I am proud to call him my friend. And also, I'm not sure. Is that okay? Okay, we're friends. Put your hands together real loud for Edward Rubin.
Thanks, Jesse. Glad I know how to pull that out. All right. My name is Ed Rubin. I am married. My wife is a cat person. I'm a dog person. I keep telling her it's because she's cooking it wrong. I feel privileged to be here. I'm sure by my skin tone, you can tell the major reason. I have other reasons, but they pale in comparison? Or is it the other way around? Romantically, my wife enjoys spooning. You know, that's where you lay on your side and you cuddle. I'm more into forking. It's not that I have to have sex, it's just a knife to have. So I think you can see that's the 3 normal utensils. I used to have a line in there about salad forks, but I decided to toss it. I thought that deserved a rim shot. So did that. We had trouble with a tree at our house. So we brought in a professional and he said, well, you need to dig these trenches so that when it rains, more water will go toward the tree. But that made me super nervous because I've never done a root canal before. How many people know what a lesbian's favorite salad is? Scissor? I think the people that work in the White House should be called trumpets. I mean, maybe they're not blowing their own horns, but they certainly seem to be blowing his. Have you guys ever noticed that Trump has that slightly orangish skin tone? And you wonder, how did he get that? Well, it's from giving a rusty trombone to Putin. Yeah, Star Wars. My wife and I love Star Wars. That's why we have 2 sons. And yes, they are into tattooing. You can learn a lot about romance from watching Star Wars. For instance, I know I need to make my wife's moisture farm happy before I plow and seed it with my huge Organa. If I really want to make her explode, I need to go up this canyon and hit this little target. And if I get to the landing strip, I've gone too far and need to turn around. Some dudes like a lot of hair, and I mean hair everywhere. It's okay to shoot first, but only if you're solo. How many people have heard of the Han Solo sex challenge? That's where you try and make your Kessel run in under 12 parsecs. What's a stutterer's favorite Star Wars character? Jar Binks. My neighbor bought a camel for $50. I thought that was pretty cheap for a good hump. Did you hear about the statistician that was in the car accident? She ran into the median. And it wasn't even a tough road. It was just a normal curve. I know. I thought that joke's a little mean, but I think it's just average. In my rise to the top, I've taken a lot of elevators, but last week I was at this department store and I wanted to go to the 3rd floor. So I pushed the button, go to the 2nd, then the 5th, and come down to the 3rd. 2, 5, 3. I told the staff, I said, hey, your elevator's out of order. Think about it. They just stared at me. Well, I was floored. I felt like they were pushing my buttons. So finally, I escalated it to the manager. But don't worry, I'm giving them the shaft. I have a hero, Sully. You know, he's the guy, the airplane pilot, landed in the Hudson River. Every time I got on an airplane, I want the pilot to be Sully. I hate long flights and birds, but I love water slides and swimming. Now, I have some Great Lake puns. In fact, you know, there are 5 Great Lakes. Some of my puns are superior. Some are a little eerie. I told my wife I had these puns, and she thought I was just putting her on. I came down for breakfast, and it was mush again. All right, that's 4. So how do I get to that 5th one? That's the key one, right? So I think my wife is a little upset with me. So I'm taking her to South America. We're going to go to Cancun. Then we're going to go to Santiago, Chile. And finally, it's on to Rio. It's more of a visual pun than anything else. Thank you very much, everybody. You've been great.
Keep it going for Ed. I love those puns. That is so good. Yeah, dude, get some snacks. Don't feel like uncomfortable getting snacks. You should go get some snacks. Don't worry, I won't introduce you until they get back. So what? So how did you guys get here? Who like you take the Google bus? No. Some of you, what would you take? Like Lyft, Uber? You moved from Pittsburgh? That's quite a commute. 7 years ago. Okay, right on. I feel like I'm really good at telling who drives Lyft and who takes Uber. We've talked earlier. This is fun. You haven't really moved? This is very confusing to me right now. Okay, you didn't move from where? From this spot. Oh, okay. You're being clever. You're good. You're always clever. Let me talk to somebody else. Now, I'm excellent at telling who takes Lyft and who takes Uber. It's just one of the skills that I have. Like you take Lyft. Damn right. You, Uber. He said Uber. People in the back. You take Lyft. Damn right. Lyft is cheaper. Got it again. I'm good. I know this girl though. She won't take Lyft or Uber. She says that all the drivers are creepy, which I don't get that. You know, it's like, for one, they're the same. But two, you don't know. You're in the car for like 2 seconds. You know, it's like a 2-minute drive, whatever. You can't tell if someone's creepy. They'd have to do something actually creepy in that amount of time to really get the sense for it. Like my friend, she gets out of a Lyft car to hang out with me once. As soon as the driver takes off, she's like, that driver was a creep. I was like, why? What did he do? She's like, well, I caught him staring at me a bunch and he didn't say anything the whole drive. What a creep. I was like, that doesn't make him creepy. That makes him shy and you're pretty. He'd be a creep if he actually did something creepy. Like he showed up. He didn't have a car at all. He just had that old pink mustache on his upper lip. Somebody order a ride? Come on, hop on. We're going. Feel the upholstery. This is real Jinko's jeans. That guy'd be a creep. Other dude's just shy. That's not a big deal. All right, getting some snacks. We're doing good. I have a girlfriend. It's going great. The one downside about having a girlfriend, though, is that now my single friends, when they humble brag about their sexual conquests, it's like extra annoying to me. I'm noticing it more. Like one of my friends complained. He was like, all these girls, they just want me for booty calls. It sucks. I was like, oh, you poor baby. You know why these girls just want you for sex every once in a while, right? It's because to these girls, sex with you is like V8. You know that drink V8? It's like that. Because it's not very good. But every once in a while, they forget and try it again. They're like, did I like this? Oh, no, I don't like this at all. I'm somehow thirstier than I was before I had it. I think it's just too salty. I think that's the problem. Now, you guys ready for your next comedian? This guy is super funny. He's been hitting the comedy scene hard, and I'm both impressed and proud of him because he took my class. Put your hands together, real loud, for Daniele Midi.
Oh, stop it. I hate it. Just kidding. Keep it going. No. Oh, thank you. Calling for applause always works. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about? Just kidding. This is not improv. This is not going to take suggestions from the audience. This is my time. We're going to talk about me. So, all right. I'll take it. So I'm going to be 50. Eventually. I'm planning on it. I've done this joke before, and there's always like somebody in the back. They're just like, oh yeah, I actually can see that, you know. Like, no, even 30, I might look really tired for my age, like something. No, I definitely want to make it to an old age. I'm trying to stay fit. I've been working out a little more. I don't particularly mind it. I also don't particularly get a choice in it. I'm a gay man living in San Francisco, so I just go out to the bars, look around, and realize that for some reason, life without abs is just not worth living. it's funny to me. I'll tell you this story. It's funny to me. I go to the gym in the Castro in San Francisco. It's the gay neighborhood. And so almost all the other people that go there are other gay men, and it's just hilarious to me how that just changes the dynamic completely. You know, I remember this time I was at a fitness class, and the instructor decided to be a little creative. He made up this new exercise. He told all of us to just lay on our backs and lift our legs up in the air. This is not going where you think it's going. I promise. With the legs up in the air, he told us to spell the full name of the last person we had sex with. Panic just starts spreading in the room. You have like roughly 20 to 25 other gay men just full of questions. It's like, what if I didn't even ask for his name? You know, like, if there were several people in the room, do I spell all their names or just the ones that I actually liked? You know, just, and how the hell do you spell Big Daddy 84 anyway? You know, it's my biggest fear was like to just turn around and see 5-6 guys just spelling the name of my husband in unison. I'm like, we're gonna have a talk at home, babe. It's not. This is not okay. Yeah, I've my husband is actually right here today. We've been married for 2 years now. Is that? Thank you. I appreciate the sympathy. It's very welcome. No, you know, I think. No, we love each other very much. Sometimes I think I could be better in the relationship. I could do better. He tells me that I never listen to him, and well, he said a bunch of other things. I wasn't paying that much attention, but no, he definitely takes really good care of me. He did. Last time that I got really sick, just last week, I had a horrible fever. I find it particularly funny because all the symptoms actually started appearing while I was at a theater watching Seussical the musical. Right, exactly, because I'm an adult and I watch the musicals I want, even though it was just me and 30 children in the audience. It was glorious. If you don't know, it's a musical about the stories of Dr. Seuss. It's a super fun show. It's a horrible place to get sick at. Terrible. There was the entire cast on stage, like super energetic. They were just like, because after all, a person's a person, no matter how small. And I was just slowly melting in my seat, just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. This is how I go with the stupidest soundtrack ever. Oh my God, I knew it. I can already see the writing on the tombstone. It's gonna say, Daniele Miri, oh, the places he went. No, he definitely takes really good care of me, of us. My life is pretty crowded right now. I have a cat, a dog, and a husband, and I love them in this order. My dog she's phenomenal. So her name is Petunia. Oh, I know, like super sweet. She's adorable. If you knew her, you would know that she's not named after the flower, but after the mean ant from Harry Potter. Very fitting, very fitting. And she's an English bulldog, so she's just so ugly, poor thing. She's so ugly, just like the whole, you know, like underbite, snaggle tooth, like outie belly, like the whole bulldog package. You know, like she's one of those dogs that she's so cute that she's so ugly she's cute. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, I found out recently that you can say this about dogs, but not about kids. It doesn't matter how true it is. It doesn't matter. That kid was just poor thing. He was like, I just couldn't. But it doesn't matter how true it is. You know, like the parents will still be upset, and you will still get asked to leave that Chuck E. Cheese. Thank you very much, guys. That's my time. Give it up for your host.
Keep it going for Daniele. That was great, right? The guy is so good. All right. Your next comedian is super funny. All the jokes that she told in class, I can't think of a single one that wasn't funny. She has been a great person to have in class, and I really enjoy that she's doing this show tonight, and you guys will too. Put your hands together real loud for Brittany Finkelstein.
Finkel short. Or what?
Oh, squeezing? That's not part of the thing. I just get excited about stuff easily. So I've been at Google for a little bit over 7 years, pretty exciting. And when I first joined, I was an administrative assistant on the Android engineering team. Yeah, I know, right? And being an admin's a really weird job. It's a really hard job. It's a really weird job because you end up developing all of these really maternal feelings for these grown-ass adults who are clearly competent enough to be trusted with major parts of our organization at this massive global tech company. And in many cases are themselves parents, unlike you and the vast majority of your early 20-something, early career admin peers. But, you know, you're just like, oh, I know you just drove the new tablet strategy in Korea, but I'm just going to go check in on this meeting you scheduled for yourself. Oh, you booked a pool table instead of a conference room. I'm just going to quietly change that, not tell you. I don't want to hurt your confidence. You know, like, I would make labels with their usernames on them and leave them on their desks for them to put on their devices for when they were traveling or just leaving things in conference rooms, which is basically the technological equivalent of taking a Sharpie and writing their names on their underwear before sending them to summer camp. Like, it was so bad that I remember I was going to be carpooling back from an offsite at this racetrack with one of my directors, and we were walking to the car, and I was like, oh, hey, you know, do you need to stop off and use the restroom before we go? Like, it's going to be a few hours drive. We're going to, you know, I can wait to the cars, no problem. And he stops dead center in the path, and he goes, did you just ask me if I need to go pee? Why, yes, I did. Yes, I did do that thing. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, I might as well have just like gotten down and been like, did Widow Ryan need to go pee-pee before we get in the vroom? I saw you drinking lots of juice. I think you should try Tinkle. So, and he was like, you know what? The funny thing is, I knew you were going to ask me before you even did. Like, that is how strong my personal brand for inappropriately mothering adults multiple decades older than me was. But I left admin work and I went over to the people development organization, which does all the soft skills training for Googlers, which basically means we try and get people to not be such assholes that everyone refuses to work with them. Like, that's our sole purpose, is please just be a human being. So to say that going from tech to people dev was a culture shock is kind of like saying licking an electric fence is tingly. Like, I have never been around more indirect, feedback-phobic people in my entire life. And pregnant women, they're just... It's like 95% pregnant ladies. I know so much more than I wish I did about that whole situation. And, you know, it's the kind of place where if you leave more than 2 comments on a document that someone asked you to review, then another reviewer will tell another reviewer that they didn't realize you were so mean. Which is a thing that actually happened to one of my colleagues who had also come over from tech. And so at first it just drove me absolutely crazy. But, you know, then it dawned on me, like, you can't do something for 40 plus hours a week and not have it seep into your bones and how you show up in the world. And it's like, engineers, you know, what do y'all do day in and day out? Every single piece of code that you write gets critiqued by your peers. And you don't have time to fuck around with all of the niceties, right? Like, can you imagine going into critique to review your comments and every single one is like, hey, so I noticed that you did it this way, and I'm sure you had a really valid reason for doing it this way. And
Like, you may have context that I don't, but I was wondering if maybe, given these things, if we could do it this way instead. I don't know. Just my 2 cents. Take it with a grain of salt. Also, I hope that Susie's truth is coming in okay. Bye. Like, there's just... not time. It's not time for that. Whereas conversely, what do we do in People Dev? We practice shaving the harsh edges off of things so that we can tell folks stuff and they won't get defensive. Like, you can't watch someone do a role play on how to have an effective one-on-one and be like, wow, Bob, you sure sounded like an asshole that whole time. Maybe you should try yelling less and listening more. No, you have to say, wow, Bob, I really like how clearly you articulated your point. Maybe you would be even more effective if you got curious about the other person's experience and made some room for them to share. And you don't even address the yelling at all because you just like pick your battles, like one thing at a time. I don't want to flood them. And so it's like, in your mind, you're going, now, Bobby, it's time to use our inside voice and take turns sharing talking so we don't hurt anyone's feelings. But you run it through a filter so it sounds less patronizing. So basically what I'm trying to say, I didn't have a career change, I just moved cost centers. Same shit, different VP.
Brittany, that was so good. Oh man, that was great. Everybody's so good. You guys ready for your next comedian? Oh hell yeah, this guy is great. He is brave enough to get vulnerable, and I really appreciate that. And on top of everything else, he's funny. So good. Put your hands together real loud for Brian Chen. Yeah, keep it going.
Whoa, holy shit! Look at the shit we have going on here. We're all here. This is kind of fucking crazy, right? Like, being on stage is actually this is actually pretty weird, not gonna lie. And one thing we talked about in class, right, is if you're the performer, then the audience kind of like feels what you feel, right? So like if I'm angry, like you're probably kind of angry, right? I'm not right now. I'm just saying shit in general. Or like if I'm like having fun, you guys are probably kind of having fun too. So I just want to say, I know you're scared. I'm scared too. We're gonna make it through this. Okay. Step 1 is do some yoga, all right? Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the good stuff. Yeah, yoga always gives me the perfect opportunity to judge myself. Step 2, we're going to take a nice self-confidence boosting selfie. All right? I'll just take a look at that and actually my nose is way shinier than I thought it was. And then, for the last thing, we just segue into the rest of the show. Very cool. So, yeah, so it was my birthday 2 weeks ago. Got it. It was my birthday 2 weeks ago. I did what I always do. I went to Chili's. Chili's is, if you don't know, Chili's is, it's not fancy. Chili's is kind of like if Applebee's realized it can only make it if it was like a character actor. like Applebee's is kind of sitting there, right? He turns over and he's like, "My brother." In this scene, Applebee's is played by Antonio Banderas. It's like, "My brother, I have a vision. The people, they have a place that is everything to everyone. It costs $20 for 2 people, and hunger and boredom will no longer exist. And it shall be called Flavor Town." And in this scenario, Chili's, or Chiles, as his brother calls him, just turns over and says, "Fucking hipster millennials, their Netflix cooking shows are way too highbrow for your Flavor Town. You want their business, you gotta give those bitches bottomless margaritas. I'm doing Tex-Mex because one of us has to take care of our family. Be practical. We can't live on your dreams, Applebee's." So I was at Chili's and I ordered the same thing I get every single time, which is the Cajun chicken pasta. When it gets to the table, I eat it the same way as always. I thread 1 rotini each on the 2 outer tines of the fork, leaving the middle 2 tines open to spear chicken. Every bite is perfect. And my dad turns to me and says, "Oh my God, he has a technique." And I turn over, I'm like, "Of course I have a technique. I've eaten this pasta literally hundreds of times." And in this moment, 2 things dawn on me. One, I may have actually eaten Chili's Cajun chicken pasta literally hundreds of times. And number 2, my father doesn't know me. To explain point 1, when my mom was basically like a single mom, she would buy me Chili's once a week. Every time I got Cajun chicken pasta. Sometimes I'd also get a salad because I like lying to myself. Sometimes I'd also get a molten chocolate cake because I don't like lying to myself. If you multiply that out for like, let's say 6 years or whatever, and you get Cajun chicken pasta maybe once a week, you end up getting it literally hundreds of times. In my defense, I was carb loading. I'm serious. You know, doctors have told me that the original marathon runner, John Marathon, of the Pheidippides marathon family, doctors tell me he would still be alive today if only he'd had proper nutrition. Because cardio is like really, really good for you. And to explain point 2, the other thing is I realized is like, yeah, my dad kind of doesn't know me too well, right? And there have been other signs. Like one time, my dad asked me what kind of house I want to live in. I told him, I want a 1-bedroom apartment with good lighting. It's got to be big enough for a small party, small enough to keep clean easily. And he turns to me and he's like, so I don't remember his words exactly, so I got to paraphrase it. But he turns to me, and I'm pretty sure what he says is, "Bitch, you don't want a fucking mansion?" Paraphrasing. See, my dad didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I grew up being provided for because of him and my mom. So naturally, we see things differently. And he'll be like, "What do you want in life?" And I say, "Close friends, good food, and meaningful ways to spend my time." He says, "Bitch, we didn't have you do all that rich people shit so you could find happiness. Why do you think we let you play lacrosse with all those bee people?" I'm like, "Okay, Dad, the term is actually wasp, and you probably shouldn't say that." He goes, "I know what B means. It's spelled B-A-E, and it's for people you have crushes on. Every crush you had on a white girl was a chance to assimilate." Again, paraphrasing. He's like, "Come on, do rich people stuff. Learn to sail and shit." And I'm like, "I'm afraid of the sea." And he's like, "You won't be afraid of the sea when you're rich. Rich people aren't afraid of anything. The sea reaches out to swallow you up. You just throw money at it and it parts around you like white Moses." And that's all I got for you. Thank you. You're very, very kind.
Yeah, I'll take it. Great job, man. Keeping over Brian. Wasn't that great? That was so good. Everybody is so good. Your next comedian is super funny, and we hang out. I've met her mom. Her mom's a really nice lady. Put your hands together. She's really funny. You're going to like her a lot. Put your hands together real loud for Sarah Wood.
Hey, how's it going? I like how everyone was so prepared tonight. I can't even move the mic because I have a beer in one hand and my Post-it in the other. So yeah, my name is Sarah. I'll tell you a little about myself. I'm 30-something. I am a single mom. I've not only never been married, I've never even been divorced yet. So I feel like I'm failing. I'm way behind. But I do have an illegitimate child, so I feel like that counts as like a little half point. She's great. She's 5 years old now. 5-year-olds ask brilliant questions. The other day, she asked me, Mom, how come boys have a penis and girls have nostrils? Things they don't tell you in the parenting books. I'm like, boys have nostrils too. And then I walked away. You're going to have to figure that one out on your own. Yeah, so sometimes I feel like part of me wants to get in a relationship again. Part of me really likes living alone. Like I went to turn on the heat the other day, and I noticed that whenever I turn it on now, I'm always like, the heat is on, the heat is on. And I can, like, sometimes I say it in my head. Sometimes I might sing it a little out loud. And there's no one there to judge me. So I love that. I don't know. I like it. The other thing I do, I don't know if you guys do this. If you guys have Xfinity, you can talk into the remote. I've gotten like really into this, and I come with like a narrator's voice now. Like my favorite show now. I don't know why, but it comes out like I press the remote and I'm like, naked and afraid. It always finds it right away. That is my favorite show right now. Have you guys seen that? I just discovered this like a few weeks ago. Yeah, there's like, okay, they take 2 survivalists and they throw them out in these like deadly jungles with no food or clothes. And for 21 days, and they are supposed to like stay alive. It's hilarious. And also it's always a man and a woman, because I feel like I feel like the producers were kind of like, well, we already have the start to a bad porn. So like maybe if something happens, it's just a bonus. It never does, thank goodness. But it is an awesome show. So I always watch it when my favorite thing to do is watch it like cuddled up in a blanket, like while I've got my phone and they're like starving and, like trying to survive and live on no food. And they're like cutting their fingers and avoiding snakes and wild boars. And I'm playing like Candy Crush. I still play Candy Crush. That came back like to me recently. I'm not ashamed of that. I find it very relaxing. What I am ashamed of is the thoughts that come to my head as I'm playing, because it plays like a self-help message. Like if it takes me a long time to beat a level, or like sometimes it takes me a couple days, or, I have to like diversify my strategy. And then at the end, I'm like, if I win, I'm like, yeah, you see, if you just stick with it, you try a couple different ways, like you see the goal and you make it while I'm watching Naked and Afraid. I'm like Candy Crush. That's my level of, anyway. Oh, that's all that's on my Post-it. So anyway, I guess that's my time.
Sarah. That was so good. So we are down to our final 2 comedians. How's you guys' energy? Oh man, that is awesome. So your next comedian, she was a joy to have in class. She is super funny. I really like the stuff that she was writing, and I cannot wait to see her perform in front of you guys. Please put your hands together real loud for Jenny Pearson Hughes.
I'm going to be honest, I still haven't decided what bit to do. Do you want to hear about lies or anxiety? Cool. Okay, we'll go with anxiety. It's very appropriate right now. Like this is actually nice because I can't like really see half of your face. Anyway, but so what he said was so nice. Like I feel like everybody here is so nice and they're so funny and like it's hard. Anyway, so I love giving compliments. Like I love getting compliments, but I love giving compliments because like when you give someone a compliment, like their face lights up, and this is difficult to take out of the microphone. How does this work? Okay, I take back all my judgments of everybody who was struggling with that earlier. So like their face lights up and you're like, oh, I feel so good. It's like a selfish feeling. You're like, I made someone feel better and now I feel better about myself. And so like our last stand-up class, we were doing like this warm-up thing. And like what we had to do is we had to like stand, we had to point at someone and they like give them a compliment. And I'm like, shit, I got this. I'm so good at giving people compliments. Like I stopped myself from giving like a bunch of you compliments because I'm like, they're going to think I'm setting up my bit and they're going to think I'm not being serious. And like, then they'll hate me and I don't even, anyway, but I'm like, I'll go first because I'm good at this. And like, and so like I start, I'm like, I'll go. And I'm like, Brian's right there. You can check him out later. But like, so I'm like, Brian, your glasses are amazing because they are. There's like this tortoise shell, but like a cool tortoise shell in the shape. Anyway, you can go. Yes, there are the glasses. Anyway, and Brian's like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good at this. And then Brian, he points to Brittany. He's like, Brittany, that bit you did a couple weeks ago with when you like pretended to be the preacher, like that was hilarious. And I'm like, oh, that's a better compliment than mine. Like, and then Brittany points to I think Kashyap, and she's like, Kashyap, I really love the energy that you bring to the stage. It's really just. I'm like, that was better than mine too. And like every single person, their compliment is better than the next person. They're like all these deep compliments about things they do, and I like complimented glasses, and like I'm getting in my head about it now. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I need to be better. What can I think? And like, it's going to come back around to me. And like, okay. What can I do? I can't think of anything. And that's coming back to me. And like, the time is like, I need to keep up with the compliment. And all I can think of, I like your shirt. And that's it. And it was like, I give up. It's like, I didn't know that was my nightmare. I didn't know that my nightmare was being bad at giving people compliments, but it was. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, I like all of these people and they're wonderful people. Why can't I say nice things about them? Like other than what they're wearing? Like, okay, so I don't always compliment people like what they're wearing. Sometimes like I'll compliment people based on like things they have. Like sometimes I'll be like, I'll like see some like an elderly person walking by and I'll like covet their walker, like, or their cane or their wheelchair. So context, I didn't use I broke my back a couple years ago. I was just like walking to lunch and all of a sudden like I stepped away and it was like crack, 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 and my body was no longer load bearing. It was bullshit. Like who breaks their back in their 20s? Me. But oh, you too? Awesome. High fives. Okay. We can talk about this later. We can talk about walkers later. But like I was in my 20s. I didn't want to buy a walker and they told me I had to buy a walker. And I'm like, I'm not buying a walker. But I got really lucky because like a gift from God, all of a sudden a walker appears next to the dumpster at my apartment complex. And I'm like, yes. And so I take it and I like bathe it in bleach and Lysol. And then I like take duct tape and it's like the cool duct tape with the patterns. I wrap it on the walker so it's a cool walker. And it was an acceptable walker. Okay, it was a walker. It was not a good walker. It was not a good walker, but like it gave me an appreciation for what makes a good walker. So nowadays, like I'll be at the grocery store and I'll see like across the room, I'll see this elderly person, like, and they'll have like the Ferrari of walkers. And like, it's beautiful. It's got the 4 wheels, like on each thing. And like, it's got the handbrakes and it's got like the carbon fiber. I can tell. And I'm like, but like, that's not what I look. I'll just sort of be staring at them intently. And they'll be like, you're not supposed to stare at people. Like, I can't stare at people. Anyway, so then I'll have to go and I'll have to run across the room. I'll be like, I love your walker. And they'll be like, And my husband hates it when I do that. He's like, you don't even know them. Why are you talking to them? I'm like, they have a nice walker. Like, it's nice. And so I think stand-up's really good for me because I have a tendency to overshare with like strangers or just really anybody. Like this one time, I told my ex about my sex life on accident. So I started just dating. When I started dating my husband, like, I'm not a calm person. I've never been described as calm. I'm just not a calm person. But he makes me like chill. Like, I'm really good. Like it's a good thing he was here, because I just like probably would have fainted dead away before I walked up here. So I was calling my ex because we're like still friends, and I'm like, I can't wait for you to meet James. He's just like really great. I think you'll love him. He makes me calm. And my ex is like, what? And I'm like, huh? And he's like, why would you tell me that? And I'm like, because I thought. He's like, I don't want to know that. And I'm like, okay, well, okay. And it wasn't until 3 months later when I was talking to a different friend, I'm like, yeah, James, he makes me calm. And my friend's like, oh. I'm like, huh? And they're like, I didn't know we were that close. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you're telling me about your sex life? And I'm like, I was. And they're like, you said he makes you come. And I'm like, oh my God. I call my ex. I'm like, calm. He makes me calm. And my ex is like, oh, thank God. Anyway, that's what I got for you.
I'll take it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Keep it going for Jenny. That energy is infectious. We are down to your final comedian of the night. You guys ready? This guy is so funny. I love his stories. I love his bits. You're going to love him too. Put your hands together real loud for Ahmed Dooby.
I felt like I should go around the podium to make it look professional. A lot of you may not recognize me. I did the class in Mountain View a few months ago. And we had our grad show, and I have to say, wow, you guys are so much better than we were. However, I'm the closer. I'm the closer, and there's a very good reason why I'm the closer. I signed up last. Thank you. I'm trying to keep it together, but I'm having a hard time. And I talked to a few people earlier, just before. My parents are coming this weekend, and we're staying together at an Airbnb. There are two things wrong with that sentence. I'm going to talk about the Airbnb first, because that didn't cause childhood trauma. So I'm very happy. I booked this Airbnb, and I was looking. There was one guy that had 2 different apartments for rent, and one said at the bottom, "This is on the 2nd floor. If you have trouble climbing stairs, this is not the place for you." The other one had exactly the same description, but didn't have those last 2 sentences. Being the Google engineer that I am, I put 2 and 2 together and thought, the other one's on the ground floor. I booked it without realizing there's no refunds available. A couple days later, he sends me the details. The one which I booked was on the 3rd floor. The 2nd floor is not appropriate for climbing stairs, but the 3rd one is. And so just before, I was going through texts with this guy, and he wasn't able to admit his mistake, because obviously I did nothing wrong there. But now we come to the second part of my horrible next weekend. So my parents are coming to visit, and actually by coincidence, they were also here when the Mountain View class did a grad show. But this is actually a big problem for me. So I have a horrible relationship with my parents, but they don't realize it. Do you ever know when, like, sometimes you go and visit your parents and, wait a second. Okay, so by a round of applause, who has a good relationship with their parents? And who like has, my parents are like my role model. They're like my best friend. Is there anyone? All right, good. Good. So anytime I'm around my parents, they manage to push my buttons, and I start acting like a teenager again. and they think that's who I am. That's they think I'm 14 years old and I'm angry all the time with everyone. But no, I'm angry at you because you managed to push my buttons. I'll give you an example. So the grad show the Mountain View class did. A lot of people invited their friends to come, and their friends came and they gave them support. My parents came, and my mother heckled me. No, it's okay. You can laugh. I'm all right with it. They're like things that we learn when we're young. Like we carry them into life, and then psychologists study this. There are attachment patterns between parents and children, and there are 4 different kinds, which attachment theory psychologists have discovered. So one is stable attachment, and about a third of the population have a stable parent-child relationship. The 3 others. So actually, I don't need to tell you what they are, because if one is stable, you can guess what the other 3 have in common. I'm somewhere in there with my parents, anxious, ambivalent, if you care. But I think I'm being a little bit unfair. My parents have had a very hard life. They were born in India, which is a shit country. It's really a shit country. Okay, so here they say you should drink 6 glasses of water a day to stay healthy. In India, if you drink 1 glass of water, you get diarrhea. If you drink 2 glasses, you get really bad diarrhea. If you drink 3 glasses, you start a race riot. And that's just on the first date. They're also orphans, which kind of makes sense. They're in their 70s. But they are orphans. But this is kind of the context which they grew up in, and I'm trying to be generous to them. But I think so. The big thing is I don't have kids of my own, and I think you can't understand what your parents are going through until you have your own children. So this came to me like it really became. Oh, there's a timer right here. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so. So this really became apparent to me when I was talking to my college best friend, Alex. And I spoke to Alex 3 years ago, just after his first kid was born. I haven't spoken to him in 3 years. I wonder why. But he was telling me, Emmett, so that's how he pronounces my name. Emmett, so my name is pronounced Amit. It's just 4 letters, but the vowels are very tough. It's okay. It took me 22 years to pronounce my first name correctly myself. I still can't pronounce my last name. Dubé. Alex, he turns to me, Emmett, you never feel true love, like immediate love, until you see a baby for the first time. There's nothing like it. It's a bit like the love that a stalker feels for their victim. Emmett, when I first met Marion, that's his wife. When I first met Marion, like it took us weeks to fall in love. But with the baby, it was like bam, immediately. And like I think that's powerful. Like what if it is the case that we as humans all have the capability to really love someone, but only a baby is dumb enough not to know that it doesn't have to put up with your shit? Everyone, I think we have that, but everyone else is like smacking us down. No, and creep, get away from me. But I do believe that we as humans do all have this capacity. And the only way we can show it is by turning on a bidet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great job. Keep it going for Amit. That was so good, man. Way to go. That's actually it for the show. Keep it going for all the comedians you saw tonight. That was so good. I'm proud of you guys. You should keep doing it. I hope I see you at like some mics. I hope I see you at some shows. You guys got talent and you should keep going. I'm serious. keep doing it. I mean, if you want to. If you don't want to, then just stop. But if you like it, keep doing it because you have talent and you have promise. What's happening? Oh my gosh.
Jesse, you've been a really great teacher, so we thought we would just get you a little gift. Here you go. And then everyone, give it up for Jesse.
You guys have been an awesome class. Really enjoyed having you all. And this means so much to me. Even the tiara, like I'm taking that sincerely. Thank you. If you guys have interest in comedy, is it go/comedy? Go/comedy. So get involved with that. There's also funny Googlers. And I hear there's a really good stand-up class if you're interested in taking a stand-up class. All right. Have a good night, you guys.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be. I would away forever, exalted in the sea. As long as I am with you, my heart continues to beat. With every step we take, Kyoto to the bay, strolling so casually. We're different and the same. Gave you another name. Switch up the batteries. If you gave me a chance,